We're back. Discipline to Win, episode 45. Today, we're talking about the future workplace, where you fit in it, and what you need to do to prepare yourself to be competitive out in corporate America in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I'm here with Nick Frazetta. Today, the biggest thing, the hottest topic in business right now is artificial intelligence. What things are being developed that are essentially, in shorter words, replacing human output. Nick leads all of the technological development and AI initiatives in our company. So, Nick, if you want to give a brief overview of how you're using AI to cut cost, innovate, develop new systems, and what it's just done for our organizations.
Yeah. So I think really the biggest place where we've noticed it is, and it's blatant, but headcount
Yeah.
is we have over the past year since we've really started doing a lot of automation development, a lot of AI development, we've seen our team become more productive, our firm earn more revenue, do more business, and we're operating with from our scale, about 15% less people. And I would say that we're on I would say if there's 5 phases, like phase one
For sure,
of
yeah.
any type of artificial intelligence development and automation development. So a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it is the reality of it. You're going to have to be more skilled, and you're going to have to be better with people, and you're going to have unique skills if you are going to be able to compete in the workplace nowadays. Some of the things that we're doing really just at our level is a lot of things like within accounting, a lot of things within administrative work. Those are the two main areas as of right now. Research is another one where like any type of work that an analyst would do, that's now pretty much completely replaced. You really don't need a human to do that work. And really what we're seeing is it's allowing the people who are employed with our company to focus more on people, focus more on our client experience, focus more on delivering a higher level of service, a higher level of service to those people that they serve, being that they're using those tools properly. So I think one thing too that we're balancing, some businesses don't have to balance it, and some businesses are okay with not having human interaction, where like you call and you get like an automated person, or you go on their website and they have like an AI bot that chats you.
Yeah.
We're not doing any of that because I think we believe that the human element is still going to be crucial forever. Like humans will always want to interact with humans. I truly believe that at no matter how developed AI gets. I think that's also going to become like a hot commodity, which we could get into later. But yeah, mainly it's accounting, it's administrative, it's an analytical work, and I think those are going to be the things where if you think that you're just going to come in and do basic administrative work when you go get a real job, or you're just going to be an analyst, like that's where I would say you really should start doing your research and really start understanding how to utilize AI, because if you could only do basic level tasks, you unfortunately are going to be replaced, and your value isn't it's not really going to be
Right.
there.
It's the entry level positions that are being replaced. So,
Yeah.
like, pretty much everyone's first job out of college, those are going to get dramatically reduced. And
Mhm.
that's going to create, a large hurdle for young folks to gain employment. To where if you're already 10, 15, 20 years into your career, most likely you have significant industry experience, you've built relationships, you have connections that are valuable outside of any type of AI tool, to where we don't think it's going to impact those types of jobs, but the entry level jobs are going to be the largest that are hit for
Mhm.
sure. So, neither you or I are that replaced from college. And essentially, after you and I both graduated college, it's not like you and I developed any type of insane amount of specific skills. We had an immense amount of output and hard work, to where unfortunately that may not be enough 10 years from now to
Mhm.
gain gainful employment outside of the trades and things like that AI just can't replace.
Yeah.
So I think that is another topic, to where there's going to be more of those jobs shifting away from the stereotypical, white collar jobs into the blue collar jobs, to where it might not even make sense for people that, if they're looking to work in business, finance, law, a lot of white collar worlds, accounting, people might need to start looking at other opportunities right out of high school rather than just going to college and hoping that you're going to be able to get a entry level accounting or paralegal job or analyst job. They might just not be there.
Yeah, and I do think to the point you alluded to, a lot of people think like entry level jobs. They're thinking a lot of people steer towards like, oh well, I'm getting a college education. I'm gonna have like a white collar job. Like I'm safe, but
Not even
I
close.
think right now you're really not as safe as like the blue collar jobs. Like I think in a world as things begin to develop and you have like a plumber or you have an electrician, I think for a very long period of time before you see like a completely self-sufficient robot that's going to be able to like intake information, go into a customer's home, fix the problem and
We're
leave.
so far away from
I
that.
think we're
Yeah.
really far from that, but I do see a world where, like, let's say you run a plumbing company and you have 10 plumbers that work for you. I do see a world where you have one of your plumbers that goes out and they have some type of like AI assistant tool that's whether it's analyzing the problem, whether it's figuring out what type of parts that are
Right.
needed, whether it's assisting in some type of way um with the actual repair, with the actual installation. I think that's on the very near horizon in the blue collar world, but I do not think that that actual plumber, that actual electrician going into the home is going to be replaced. Now, on the other side of the table, we just talked about this before. You're a lawyer and you have a paralegal, and your paralegal work is, hey, find me this case study. Hey, can you figure out if this law in this state that we're dealing with, if you could find anything that maybe conflicts with that?
Proofread this 50-page lease
Exactly.
agreement.
See
Yeah.
if there's any like grammar issues with it. Like that's done.
Yeah.
Like that's where, and that's a white collar job. And like, unfortunately for a lot of people, like that's going to be a role that I really don't think in 2 to 3 years it's
No.
going to exist, because the only way that it continues to exist is if you have heavy interaction with people. I think that's going to be like, if you're like, where can I go that I can find like a secure job? It's how much of that job interacts with people. If you're looking at a job and 80% of the time it doesn't interact with a human being, probably not like a great place to pursue. But if you're looking, like I even think at like the purest basic level, like a bank teller, like
Yep.
there will always be people that want to go into the bank and they want to talk to a human
Right.
being. They don't want to like talk to the, I even hate like when I have to go into the bank and they're like, oh yeah, like use this
I
machine. I'm
I don't
like,
wanna
I
use
need to
it
talk
either.
to a person. Like,
Like, the banks obviously realize that's better for them if they can get customers to
yeah,
just use the machine, but
yeah,
you'll see a line of 10 people waiting to see a teller. There's 3 auto ATMs that are
yeah.
just empty, no one in line there.
Yeah, and I think that's still gonna take like a good amount of time to progress, but I do just believe that humans will always want
Yeah.
human interaction. So that's even a role there where it's like, it's a bank teller, it's an entry level bank role. It's not like you have to go to school to get that role or do anything crazy. But I think that would be safer than the like paralegal that's studying at law school that
Yeah.
thinks they're gonna be a lawyer. Like that's probably a safer route to go. So if you're analyzing where do I go where I don't have as much risk of getting replaced, it's how much human interaction are you
Yeah.
going to have?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think to a lot of people, it's scary. We've had people internally when we talk about automation and we talk about those different things,
Yeah.
they've come and asked you, should I be worried about my job or
Mhm.
things like that? To where it's the opposite. I think it greatly amplifies what people or any one person is capable of if they use that. I think that if you learn the systems and use it correctly, it should double what you're able to do to where
Mhm.
it's not something to be afraid of. It's something you want to challenge yourself with to learn as much about as humanly possible, which I think is what you've really done the last 6 months is you're just consistently trying to learn what is out there. How can we use
Mhm.
it? How can we get smarter? How can our people get smarter? Which I would say that's the phase you're really in right now is
Yep.
like just starting to introduce everything to all of our people. So it's definitely not something that anyone should be scared about. It's something that people need to embrace and challenge. Just like when computers and the internet came out, everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's going to eliminate jobs. And there were
Mhm.
some people that resisted it and got left behind. Like, this is not the time to resist innovation like any point in history. This is the time to try to get ahead of it, learn as much about it as possible so that you are skilled to use it, which makes yourself as employable as you possibly can be.
Yeah, and I think too, as anything, just especially with how integrated people are with media and with social media, the new ideas that come out, people think like, oh, within it was kind of like the electric car buzz when like
Yeah.
everyone was like, oh, like everyone's gonna have an electric car within like 5 years, and you look on the road and like still
There's like
90% of the cars are
right.
are gas
Like
powered
truckers
cars.
were worried they were gonna
Yeah,
lose their job. Yeah.
like there's like a lot of times these ideas come out now and people are like, oh, well, like AI is gonna take like it's going to take many, many years before
Yeah.
there is like true, and I do believe there will be less jobs for humans when AI in 10 to 15 years is like at a point where it's really, really developed and
Yeah.
there's companies using it. Now, the other side of that point, which is like a whole nother discussion, is I do think that the US government and other world governments are going to put measures in place so that it does not get too out of control to
Yeah.
where whether it's like you have to have a certain amount of people
Right.
at your company per basis of revenue or customers that you serve, like there's going to have to be measures put in place to where you don't just walk into a place and there's like not a single human being that's operating and you're like speaking to a robot like
Yeah.
almost like a sci-fi movie. But I don't think we're anywhere near there. But if you're a person that is trying to get a job, or maybe you're worried that your job's going to get taken, you're trying to find a new job, I'll go back to it again. The human element is going to be huge. I also think a quality that people need to learn to develop, or if they already have it, get better at it, is leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership will never
Never
die, and that
have
will never be replaced by a robot. Nobody is going to, at least in our lifetime, nobody's going to follow like a
no.
non-human as a leader. So if you are really good with people and you could lead people, that in any way, shape, or form is always going to be a valuable quality. And that's going to be a quality that separates yourself no matter what you do from anybody else. So I would encourage anyone that is nervous about something, learn how to be a better leader, learn how to
Yeah.
lead people.
And just honestly connect with people too. You want to be somebody that can walk into a room and not stand in the corner and eat snacks for 2 hours. You
Yeah.
want to go out and like interact with everybody and leave some lasting impression of yourself on other people, and try to do it with as many as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because when there's less human interaction, which in a way the AI does create a little bit less human interaction, I think it's going to make the human connections that people have even more valuable.
Yeah.
To where it'll just like, why do we do this? And tell everybody that they need to, lean into the media, lean into the personal brand, is you want to put yourself in front of as many people as possible. So I think that if there's less opportunity for that, because there's a lot less of just people walking down the hall needing to interact with 8 other people, if they're a lot more, self fulfilled through all of the AI, it makes all the connections that you can build even more valuable. So like we've seen a lot of people that we've put into leadership positions weren't capable, weren't able to grow into that. I think there's a lot about being a leader that is natural. You can 100% get better, you can develop it, you can gain some skills in it, but I've seen a lot of people that like they're just never gonna
Mm-hmm.
have it for whatever reason, to where if you're one of those people, then be a connector to where you're connecting other people together and you have built that sort of human capital and human value to where you can essentially create net worth that way, instead of getting other people to follow you, become just as valuable to where you can connect people with the right people to do a deal, to provide resources to them. And that's one of the things I like about being around high value people, is they try to connect you with something right away. We've had guests on the show to where like they're trying, you could tell like within the first 10 minutes of us talking to them, they're trying to find a way they can
Mhm.
add value to us in some way by connecting us to something we need.
Yeah.
So I think if you can be a connector and build connections, that's almost just as valuable as being able to get people to follow you as well.
Yeah. And I'll go back to, because Jordan and I were talking about this off camera, but I think too, there's going to be a cycle, and I compared it to like fashion, where like baggy pants were like the thing like
Yeah.
30 years ago, and then
In
there
like
was
the
like
90s and early
yeah, and then it was like
2000s,
all
yeah.
like skinny jeans, but then like now it's like everyone's like wearing baggy pants again. I think there's going to be a cycle in business over this next 10 to 15 years where everyone's going to think it's so cool that like, oh, like a robot took my order like when I went out to eat, or like, oh, like this robot came to my house and like fixed
Yeah.
my sink. But then the cycle is going to like continue to develop, and it's going to be like, wait, like I miss human interaction. Like
Yep.
I want to work with a business that like has humans doing things. And I truly do believe that like over time it's going to come back where you have all these businesses that they're going to be very profitable, they'll be very lean, but people are going to shift back to like, I actually want a person to like
Yeah.
take my order. I actually like want to talk to somebody when they come to my house to like fix somebody, and those businesses will then rise again. So I think if you could blend that in what we're trying to do, of
Mhm.
that balance of, yes, everything that the customer, the client doesn't see is maybe being taken care of by AI or some type of automated operation
Yep.
system, but everything that they do see is still like a bright, energetic human being that
Yep.
is like there to help them. I think that's going to be the balance where you're going to see businesses that just absolutely crush it over the next 10 to 15 years. Because if you're too far the one way, you're going to get smoked because your operating costs are going to be too high. Everyone else is going to be able to pretty much undercut
Yeah.
you because they're going to have better margins. If you go the opposite, like the other way, and you have no human interaction, you have no differentiator. If there's 10 companies, then they all get served by robots, like, or they all
Right.
are like, there's no differentiator. So if you could blend that, that's, I think, going to be where people are going to have billion-dollar ideas, billion-dollar companies that are in the making or already made, that will honestly beat out everybody on like both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah. I think this is the time to sort of figure out your plan. There's so many people. I feel like we're almost in the mid 90s where like the internet started getting big, and the ride up for like 6 years until the dot-com bubble in the early 2000s. There's so many people in America that say, I want to be rich. I wish I could be rich. I hope I could be rich someday. And then they just don't do anything. They
Mhm.
don't execute a plan on how to make that happen. And they just hope it's obviously never going to happen if you just hope that you don't change anything about your life, but somehow this happens. Now is the time to where we work with a accounting company that told us one of their best customers, there was two people
Mhm.
and they got $100 million exit, like
Mhm.
two employees, like
Yeah.
that's it. To where now is the time to where you don't need any large amount of investment. You need a great idea and some execution,
Yep.
and you can be rich. This is almost like a gold rush or a boom, I think, that we're like just on the cusp of
Mhm.
for the next decade. So if you're out there and you want to find a way to change your life, I think this is a huge opportunity. If you can find a way to streamline things, innovate using all of the free tech that's just out there at everyone's disposal, I think now is an incredible opportunity for people out there.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's never been easier, but I also think that the window has never been shorter.
Yeah.
It's a short window that you got to get into,
Because there's
because
major money out there.
there's major money, and there's, in all spaces, there's major conglomeration happening, to where I was talking about this with somebody the other day, but the world of like how my dad started his business, where he just literally like graduated chiropractic school and like opened up a shop and put like Frazetta Family Chiropractic on it, and then just went out and started getting clients. It's going to be virtually impossible to do that in today's day and
Yeah.
age, because that day and age was all like family owned, like
Right.
you own your own business and you kind of just like start from scratch. I mean, we know in our industry, like somebody who is on the same street as us, who is trying to do the same thing as us, and they're just going to like open up a shingle, they have no chance of
No,
competing with us.
we're not
Like,
gonna let them
yeah, like
exist. Yeah. Yeah.
they have no chance. And that's just like, that's everywhere. Like, you have no chance of competing. It's just too hard
Right.
to, from like, to kind of start that up. Now, with that being said, there's maybe not like those type of businesses, but you look at like, you have a good idea and you can develop software, or you have a good
Yeah.
idea and you have like a good like app idea or connector service or anything of that sort. Like, that can easily be made and then sold to a massive
Licensed. Yeah.
conglomerate, or yeah,
Yeah.
license, whatever it is. But like those day and age of, hey, I'm just gonna like open up the pizza shop, and like that's just,
And then you just end up making a living on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that's gonna be really, really hard to do moving forward. But again, there's, I think, a short window, but a tremendous window of opportunity to like really change your family's lineage, to change your entire life. And it really has never been easier with the resources that we have at our fingertips than right now.
You're seeing people now as employees getting 100, $200 million
Yeah.
annual salaries as employees because they know AI, they know tech, they
Mhm.
know coding better than anybody else. To where I am 100% certain they didn't just magically get good at that through college.
Yeah.
It was 100% like self-development, self-taught, self-innovation, self-drive,
Mhm.
and now they're getting paid more than the highest paid athletes and celebrities in the world because they have an extremely valuable skill they've developed and taught themselves.
Yeah. And I think we're going to see more of that. And really, it's a testament to like if you really want to make a change, it's you're gonna have to have significant amounts of effort and some significant amounts of extra work
Yeah.
than anybody else is putting in. And that's kind of how you're gonna separate yourself and greatly succeed in this environment that we're in.
Yeah. So, like always, do not take a back seat. Don't find yourself being a spectator to this innovation and growth over the next 10 years. Start today, start doing research online. It's not like anyone has taught Nick or, I any of this. I'm learning from Nick, Nick's learning from other people. Go out and find people that have done some of it, find people online and just start your development so that you don't get left behind in this AI automation and innovation that happens over the next 10 years. So, till next time, stay disciplined.